Hey everyone, Rock DIY here. I did a previous video of my dust collection system in which I used PVC pipe, 4-inch PVC pipe, all the way around, and then attached hoses at different stations for different tools. But this video is more about the, I don't know how often the 3D printing world and dust collection ever come into contact with each other, but in my case, it did happen. And 3D printing helped out quite a bit. So that's what I want to talk about. And so this piece right here is modeled after the regular PVC cap that you can purchase, but rather than just being a cap, it actually has a nozzle on it so that this hose can connect to it as it does. And then this piece right here actually came with this hose. This is a pool vacuum hose. This connector became very common with the 3D printer. And so this piece connects to here, and this is a 3D printed piece. So this fits inside, and then the hose fits inside that. And then if I don't need to use it, I can simply just take it off. The big thing about this is every one of my power tools that have a dust port or extractor, they're all different sizes. So I wanted to make something that was very common. So this piece is made so that this would be the common connector on every tool. And then this piece would either be downsized or upsized in order to accommodate this particular connector. So that's that one. Then there is another one over here. So this one comes down. You can see another 3D printed cap with the nozzle on it, a clamp, the hose, and then this is my miter saw flip table. And you can see once again the common adapter, and then the nozzle. So this white piece and the white piece over there are the two end pieces of a 30-foot hose. So then after that, I had to start having these printed. So this can go on here, and this hose is specific for the miter saw, but it's also for this table saw that's completely covered with everything right now. In order for this table saw to slide properly, I got to ensure that this space here stays consistent. So what I did is I put screws down at the bottom of the table saw to prevent it from moving all the time, because depending on the piece you put on there, you can constantly move this. But what I needed was the table saw to stay in the same spot all the time because of the way my dust collecting hose hooks up to it. So originally I only had this piece, and if you look, the port is back there, and this elbow was on there. And the issue I had is if I needed to use the table saw, my arm does not fit all the way in there. I can go through this way, but what I figured it would just be easier to make this longer piece here, and it's offset because it would run into that 2x4 there. So this will go in here, connect to it's kind of hard to do this with one hand, but the idea is to have it put there, and then I've got this top and bottom clamp that'll fit over it, and then I'll put screws in it to lock it in place. And then from here on out, I don't have to mess with going to the back side, because this will always be right here, and I can just plug my hose in right there. The other one I have is this one. Same thing, cap, nozzle, hose, clamp, and then this is two different nozzles that had to be printed with the 3D printer. And then I also had these caps made, And the caps go on so that if I'm, depending on which one I'm using, I can just put the cap on so that the vacuum suction will stay consistent. This one goes right here on the back of the planer. And it just goes just like that. Planer has kind of a weird dust port. The inside right here is closed off. This part is the only part that's open. This fits on there. This goes on there. There you go. There's a bunch of 3D printed pieces that made all this possible to put together. I actually did forget one piece, but it is covered in my other video. I had to make, you can barely see it, but I had to make an inner sleeve coupler right here. Piece goes in there, comes out here. There's a little ring right here, or a shoulder, that prevents it from going inside any further. And then there's a clamp holding the flexible hose on. That's the other piece that was made. So quite a bit of 3D printing to get this done. There you go. This is how you can integrate the 3D printing world into your dust collection system.